All right, all right. Good morning, everybody. No, I had to it doesn't let me just start the old meeting. I have to like go in and change the date. I always forget that I have to do that. So it wouldn't let me start it till I got it shifted backwards and moved it to today. Good to see everybody. We're gonna give it just a minute or two to let anyone in who's straggling in. Well, nothing worse than having to take some losses on the first day of the year, but it looks like that might happen. Um, if you're like me, you're not carrying much, but you are carrying some trades. So futures are down. We'll talk about it. And yes, Sandy, Happy New Year, everyone. I hope it was fun and safe. I did make it till midnight. Amazing. Not much past though. I think I had one kid show up at 1:30 and one show up at like 3:30. So wasn't too bad. Okay, you should be able to see my screen. Looks like we've got enough to get started. Welcome to the Market Watch Group weekly opening bell happening on Tuesday due to the market being closed yesterday. We are now in 2024. My name is Scott. Let's get started. Here are the disclaimers. And here's the agenda: opening futures and news. Futures are down. Um, a good chunk. So we'll see what that looks like on the open. This is probably the first time we've come across this, but if you have stops that are automated, that are hard stops. When I say a hard stop, I mean as opposed to like a uh mental stop where you're like, oh, if this happens, if you're there, you're going to watch this pretty closely. But if you had a stop that was going to trigger on the open this morning, I would counsel to take it off. And I know you probably hear a lot of people say, thought we're not supposed to take stops off. No, whoever said that. I mean, I'm not supposed to move my stop to not get stopped. But my rules dictate that I do not, absolutely do not get out at a market order on the open on a what's going to be a somewhat, I wouldn't say violent, but I would say a down day. So if I had a stop that was going to trigger on the open, I would basically pull it off, wait the first 20 minutes to see what happens. And then if it still is in the territory where I'm supposed to get out, then I'll work my way out manually and I'll start to put an order in to work my way out of that. Um, the reason being is whatever price we see, um, right? Whatever price we see on the open is going to be, it's going to get worse, or it's going to be the worst. I mean, even if the market drops a little lower, the price that we get that we can work our way out of is going to be more settled. So, good morning, Perry. Good to see you. Good morning, Stephen. All right, let's talk about it. So, futures and news. We're going to talk about the economic calendar and posture. We have mostly jobs this week. Um, what's interesting? What's interesting is what they're attributing it to. Did anyone look at that this morning? We'll jump into it in just a second, but they're saying that hopes for cuts may be overblown. That's the big news. Hope for cuts may be overblown. Well, yeah. You've got UBS coming out saying they think it's going to be 2.75 and it's like 2.75. I mean, there's only There's only 8 meetings. That means every meeting will have at least a quarter, if not a half, several times in order to get that. I don't see that happening. So, yes. Okay, what else? We'll look at the economic calendar, market posture, mindset for open trades. Kind of talked about it already, right? Mindset is if you have to take your losses, be ready to take your losses. We'll look at the opening range and any trade implications it might have so that if we do say, ooh, I might stop out of this, and then all of a sudden we start to recover from the opening range, great. Let it recover. Early week shopping list. Here's the thing is we still have enough of a bullish trend and posture. We have enough stocks that have hit new highs and are looking more bullish that we're still going to have, even with a little bit of a sell-off here in the early week. That's going to stop a few things out, but it'll set other trades up. So with our market posture staying strong, which it did, I think we're still going to be fine. And we'll talk about trading plan section of the week. We're on section 1. Let's get straight into it. Yeah. So the Fed watch tool is the thing that's getting people. So you can see it was really just in the last, let's pull it up on the futures here. I'm locked. Okay, unlocked. And let's pull up the ESs. What time is it? We still have 5 minutes before it opens. So here you can see the ESs are already showing what the market's going to show. It worked its way down. So there it is, right around, I would say, just before 6 a.m. Eastern. We were in a pretty stable place. The futures were actually slightly positive still. That's the close on Friday, right back here around 48.13. And you can see we were actually in a pretty good place, and then we fell, and then it really hit, and now we're stabilizing a little bit. Yeah, that's what's in front of us here, right? That's what's in front of us. Okay, but when you look at this, remember that I said, I'm okay if we take this out as long as we find support above the 50. So, and when we talked about establishing our trend, we said it may end up being something like this. See if I can draw this and connect a dot and see what happens. So if we came all the way back down to here, and then we started to turn, we would still have the ability to try to work ourselves into this trend here, right? What would I score that trend? Probably less than it is now. I would call that more like a 1.25, maybe 1.5. And right now we're sitting around 1.75. If you missed Monday, or if you missed Sunday, long term stayed the same, short term stayed the same, still at 1.75. we haven't made an adjustment there for a little bit. And that could ease back into this level, which would be okay. I'd be fine with that. We can still maintain around a 6 or higher if we see that. Volume dropped a quarter of a point. Major market went up a quarter of a point. Sector rotation still as strong as it can be. We've got the big 5 are still working and pushing, and the VIX stayed where it was. So we stayed at 6.5. Still bullish overall. But does that bullishness allow for this to consolidate? Yeah. And it might not come this far, right? If it only consolidates to, let's say, well, maybe above that, let's say here. So it might come down and stabilize and then turn. Great. We're not going to panic. That's what I'm saying. We're not going to panic. If we have to take some losses, we'll take some losses, and then we'll see what's next. So, but that's what you want to kind of be prepared for as you watch this open. Okay, what trades are you most worried about if you're in a trade? So we have a couple that we can identify. What trades are you most worried about? I definitely want to take a look at IBM. Definitely going to take a look at Apple. Are there any others that anybody's in? I told you I pared down a little bit, took some losses, but carried some. So now what am I doing? Now I'm grateful that I took some losses, but still have more work to do, right? Okay, so the future said minus 0.77. Let's see where you can see IBM where it's not terrible. It's not terrible. I don't have to panic my way out of this. Yeah. And I can just kind of let this thing play out. However, at this point, for me to stay in this trade, I really, really feel like I need it to come back. I'd like to see it back up there. We'll see. I don't want to see it break below this, much below this low now. Let me, are these the only two? No one's giving me any trades that they want to take a peek at. Feel free to throw one at me. This low is still kind of holding, so I'd say as long as I stay above intraday, I'm going to get out if it breaks below 162.60. As long as it doesn't happen here in the first 20 minutes. We'll see what happens. It does look like I'm going to be done with this trade. And it looks like it'll be a relatively small loss. So, yeah, okay. Okay. Let's take a look at Apple. Yeah, Apple's getting hurt today, where I'm glad I only kept a little bit. And I'm going to wait for it to stabilize and then work my way out of the trade. Let me get out of this and get to this. Because we gapped on Apple. There's nothing you could have done to avoided this on Apple. The gap is going to hurt it. So, yeah, it sucks. Going to take the loss. And that's it. Nothing else to do. Although you can see it's already coming back a little bit now. When it gaps like this, if your loss has gone extreme on you, sit on it. At this point, if you're only scraping pennies out of it, sit on it and see what happens. I've seen crazier things where it comes back and you end up getting able to take a smaller loss because of a little bit of a recovery. So, okay. Any others anyone wants to look at? We're feeling okay. Excellent. Let's look at the economic calendar. Now, one thing was this. Oh, we were close. I said I thought we might get triggered on a VIX. It didn't trigger. Yes, it didn't trigger on Friday, but it's definitely triggering today. If it ends up like this, yeah, I'm gonna put some on. I'll have some of those puts that we talked about. 5% out of the money, 5% out in time, unless now we're still early in the day. If this thing drops and ends up back down in this range down here, I might not. But it looks like I'm going to put some puts on, because if this becomes more than just a small pullback, I want a piece of it. And whatever bullish trades remain will be shut down fairly quickly. It's hard because we were close to being able to get in front of this thing. And sometimes you're close, but if you notice, this just finished back down too low. if it had given us a candle like this, if that's what it would have looked like, and it did look like that at one point, we would have had puts on. And then today would have been a little bit different. It's unfortunate. The mechanism was there. You can see why when I see these higher lows, I look at them as being potential escalation. But you'll also notice we're still under these highs. We're still under the 50-day moving average. So is it a little bit? I mean, we're still at 13.76. That's not very high for the VIX. I will tell you this. The SPY time spreads are going to look amazing. They're right back where they need to be. Let me just isolate the two. So remember here, there were two of these. Let's take these off and we'll take the new ones off. Boom and boom. This is what it looks like right now. Right now, this is what it looks like. And if you remember what I said, this is acting as a hedge. Because if it pulls back into this middle area, we'd have over $1,000 in profits. You can see where we are, 1155. And we're kind of in this perfect place here where if I sit a couple more days, that's where we are, up around 1700. We'll see. I might just start taking maybe half of this off and working my way out of it. But that's why I like these types of strategies. Now, how long was this trade? It's a great question. Let me see. SPY. Let me isolate it. Started on the 20. The first one was back on the 15th. $1.18. And now if we were to create an opposite order, we'd be getting out at $1.88. So that one's made quite a bit. Then the next piece was put on a week later. We put on the 476s. We got those for 63 cents. Those are now selling for oh no, that's not right. Those are the wrong ones. We got it was a week later. We got the 175s for $1.28. Those are also selling now for about $1.76. So 2 weeks on one, 2.5 weeks on one, 1.5 week on the other one, and that's where we stand with those. So if you're in them, there you go. If you took any of these trades, or if you are paper trading them, practice how you're going to exit them. Absolutely. All right. Let's just take a couple of peeks around. Yeah, we're holding up. It's not looking great. Not looking great. All right. What else do we want to look at? Let's look at the economic calendar. So what does the market see? Investors weighed whether expectation of U.S. interest rate cuts are overdone. We built a little bit too much into the cuts. You can see in our FedWatch tool, it's looking very much like it's going to be stay the same. Then it looks like it's going to be, and you can see now all of a sudden there's a little bit more for stay the same again, but they're definitely thinking still the first cuts in March. And the second cut is in May, a quarter of a point both times. A quarter of a point both times. Now, if we look at the June report, do we end up down at 450 to 475? They're still banking on a third cut. They're banking on 3/4 points in a row. And that's where maybe the market is starting to shift expectations to slow it down a little bit. Right? They're going to slow it down just a little bit. Okay. On the calendar this week, what do we have? Nothing yesterday. Markets were closed. Today, nothing really. Tomorrow, job openings are supposed to be just a little under 9 million. That's staying pretty strong. We get minutes from the December meeting, the December Fed meeting. The ADP employment report typically is Wednesdays, but they kicked it to Thursday because of the holiday. They're expecting 103,000 jobs. Oh, no, that was previous. They haven't put their expectation. The Department of Labor is expecting still 170,000 new jobs, which is down from 199, and possibly an uptick in unemployment. Hourly wages growing, but not as much as they did. So there you go. That's what we have by way of expectations. Okay. So we're now 10 minutes in. Let's take a quick peek at the opening range. Okay, so we tried to push, sold back. Now it's holding steady. Yeah. What are we going to do here? Like we said, if you have losses that need to be taken, you'll take them. Otherwise, you will look for new entries. Obviously not on Apple. That sort of just snuck out of nowhere, beat it up a little bit. There's got to be some news on Apple. I'm going to look into that. But we're going to be seeing some red. Aflac is actually still up a little bit today. AIG. So we said, AMD looked a little bit overbought. That would have been the time to get out. Now it's pulling back. Great. As long as it stays above 135, anything above that, 137 or above, that's a perfect high or low. Amazon was on our watch list as a new candidate. Do I still think it's a new candidate? Absolutely. Just made a new high at 155. Now it's pulling back well above its 50, well above its prior lows. That looks absolutely fine. AXP. We said that the financials had just kind of a failure to launch type of a move, right? It failed. They gave a signal, but it just really didn't go anywhere. But now we have another setup for me. And on this one, I'm not looking at this 1 day consolidation. I'm okay with this as the last low. So my thought process is this thing could come all the way back to 175, and it's still going to be above its 50-day moving average. And it's still going to be a viable opportunity. So I think financials, which were a phenomenal part of a strong Q4 for me in trading, a lot of good trades in the financials. I'm still looking there. Absolutely. Boeing, still looking there. There's this, right? Take the fact that the market opened down and the futures were down and were down out of the equation. This is all you see. What are you thinking? I'm thinking this looks tradable, right? BK, waiting for a consolidation. BLDR, waiting for this to consolidate. And this one too, if I come down, we're so far above the 50-day moving average that, you know, we could give it a little bit of a leeway to even come into this a little bit. BLK pulling back, still bullish. BX pulling back, still bullish. Citi hardly even pulling back yet. Caterpillar Still bullish. There's not a single one of these where I'm like, you know what? Now that it's done that, I don't think I can take that trade. No, I think they all look just fine. Ooh, now look at oil. I'm not sure I'm interested in anticipating an oil trade. Maybe. But we said if we're going to trade oil, this is a good one to look at. And you can see that it looks like it's starting to develop into a trade. Costco, waiting for it to pull back, still bullish on it. Copart, it's just kind of meandering still in its triangle consolidation pattern. CrowdStrike, still bullish on it. I'd love to see it stabilize. Maybe by this, it kind of went up, paused, and then went. So I don't know, 240 for me. Still looks good until there. CSX. CSX looks like it's trying to break a flag today. Right? It looks like it's trying to break a flag. Here's the flag. Your stochastics starting to turn. Looks reasonable. So Delta, I'm still it was a little bit of a false start back here, but the fact that we're still above the 50 and this old high right here, as long as it starts to move by that point, I'd be okay with it. I'm still bullish on Delta. The home builders are a little funky looking. We'll see what happens there. DIA pulling back a little bit. ENVX, as long as it holds this 50 and turns, I would trade it. If it breaks the 50, I'm going to move it off the list. That's it, right? It's got to hold that 50 for me. Fastenal, it looks like an amazing setup. Just got to wait for it to stabilize and turn. This looks, there's some great looking setups here. So the fact that we carried some trades, if you did, some of you may not have carried any, and you're sitting in a phenomenal spot. I carried a couple. One I took Apple's where I pared down, which I'm very glad because that gapped on me. The other ones are okay. I'll work my way out. It's not that big of a deal. And now I have a number of trades setting up in a still bullish market posture. Gold, Floor, I'm going to say no, there's better. I'm going to take Floor off the list. It really is just kind of trading weirdly. We have a lot of good industrials. Gold, it's holding up. Google looks fantastic. It's ready to trade soon. I wanted it to pull back to give me an opportunity to trade it again. Google and Meta were two of the strong trades to end the year with, and I'm looking at both of those. Home Depot, still bullish. Still looks good. IBM, IBM is floundering on us. I was all excited about it. It tried to move. It's just sort of kicking now. Here's ICE. ICE is phenomenally strong stock. It's pulling back again now. Great. Intel is a phenomenally strong stock. It's pulling back now. Great. These are still very bullish looking. And look at the IWM. That looks fantastic. Right? That looks like it's going to be tradable again soon. So, yeah, we don't love taking losses on the first day of the new year. Throw that out. It's just another day. We're just taking some losses because we need to. If you have them. And then we'll go from there. As of right now, I haven't. I'm going to see what this can do. Let's see if it can stabilize. If it starts to get worse, then I'll work my way out. Why? Because prices have now settled down. Right now, it's at the same place it was when it started, but you would get a much better price, right? You would get a much better price. JP Morgan, it's hardly even flinching. KKR, KKR doesn't look great. KKR is rolling over. It's not holding up. If you have any left of that, probably time to shut it down and take the loss. MasterCard, I'm getting rid of MasterCard. I don't think I would trade it, so I'm going to bounce it. Meta, come on down. You're the next contestant. 340. That's what I would love to see, a trade around 340. Microsoft, so Microsoft and Apple both getting hit pretty hard today. Uh, Here's the thing. Still holding this support level technically. Um, this is one that I took this trade back over here and stopped out right here and just kind of watched it, never did much else. So I'm agnostic to this one. I know a few of you had traded it. Netflix still looks favorable. Nvidia, Nvidia's getting hit today. I like Intel better, to be honest, anyways. So fine. I think Intel is a chip leader right now. Picard, still bullish, still waiting for the pullback. PNC, still bullish. The Qs are definitely getting hit today because of Apple and Microsoft and Nvidia. RCL, Royal Caribbean, pulling back, setting up, still bullish. Rivian, we were looking for it here. It's pulled back more. I'm okay with that. I'd love to see it hold the halfway point of this candle, which is where we are. This is going to come up, but if this stabilizes through here and then turns out of it like this, boom, boom, yeah, I would still give this a consideration. Roku. I don't like Roku. Shopify. Shopify was kind of stalling out with this engulfing. Now it's coming down. It's got to stay above this 70 level, 71. It's got to stay above the 50, but I'm still bullish on Shopify. SMCI, nothing now. Snap. We'll see what happens. Snap looked like it wanted to be tradable, just never actually gave the price action. SPY. Looks like the opening range is starting to push down a little bit. Here's STLD. What are the appropriate strategies right now? Yeah, patience and still bullish. Volatility still generally low. Some stocks might have a little bit more than others, and then in those cases, you might think about a spread trade. But right now, I'm still bullish. I booked more than I held, so holding a few things. Sure, gonna give some back. Okay. But I'm still bullish. I mean, look at STLD. Still looks bullish. Looks like it's actually ready to turn into a bullish trade. We know materials have been fairly strong. So I think we're still going to have, this doesn't change my perspective. We're going to have signals this week. Even as much as, look at UPS, looks very strong. Still bullish on this. UNP, still bullish. VIX, still under 14. If you go back, we drew a line back here. And that line has been tested, but not broken. Is there a bit of escalation? There seems to be a bit of escalation, but we seem to be holding under 14, which is still quite low, still quite confident as far as markets go. Wells Fargo still looks bullish. Still time before earnings, right? Earnings, we know earnings are coming up on the 12th. That is a week from Friday. So do I still have time? Still have time. Can we see the seasonal? Absolutely. That's a good call out. So yeah, we have a tendency to get a little bit of a bounce. And then a dip. But you can see we can catch, I mean, if it dips a little, here, and then bullish. The spring tends to the January, February, March, April months tend to be pretty good, but the January, February months is where the volatility tends to be. So I look at this and think, yeah, we could get a little bit of consolidation. We could go ahead and see it moving a little bit more. For me, my bullish posture prevails. I'm more expecting movement than not. Until it proves otherwise, I'm going to let my posture prevail. And you can see our list is chock full. so many, and still we have Amazon, consumer discretionary, Boeing, industrial, COP even in oil, Costco, consumer staples, CrowdStrike, software, CSX, um, industrial, railroads, and ENVX software, Fastenal, industrial, Google and Meta, communication services, Intel, technology, Home Depot, consumer discretionary, um, WFC, financial. I mean, right? It's there's good trades still out there. Those are the leaders. Those are the ones who got us there. So if can they continue to lead us? Well, let's expect they can until they can't, and then we'll make different judgments. So I'm nothing's changing from this. One hard morning can't change my posture. It's too strong right now. Walmart, still showing some signs of life. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of US Steel. I don't like watching it now. Had a pretty phenomenal trade with it, but now that it's a takeover contender, there's not much we can do with that. But there's basic materials that still looks very strong. Still looks very strong. So steel, right? That steel trade it's in this vein. So do you feel comfortable taking a bullish trade in this sector? Sure, I do. Google, Meta, Netflix. Do I still feel bullish and feel comfortable taking communication services bullish trades? Yes, I do. Energy, iffy. Financials still look strong. Industrials still look strong. Technology. Technology's kind of getting beat up a little bit. It's taking this out, but remember, that's not what I'm going off of. Going off of this. So would I be comfortable if it moved into a trend? I could almost come back here that looks like this. Is that a strong trend? No, that's less than half. That's a 1.25. Same as what we saw potentially developing on SPY, but I'm okay with that. I could take a slower trend. Staples looks okay still. So does utilities. Yeah, there it is. Nothing's changed. If we have to take our losses, we'll take our losses. I'm still looking for bullish setups this week, managing my time spreads. So there you go. That's what I'm looking at. Upward is upward. You're exactly right, Sandy. So it was quiet today. Is everybody feeling okay? If you have some concerns, voice them. Let me know. Let me know what they are. We have today's section, personal info. It's a very, very important one. Tired. It's been a busy week. Yeah, right? I agree with that. Okay. No. When did you send that, Steven? Steven said he made some changes to the market posture file. When did you send that? So I know to grab the right version, or did you version the title of it so I can recognize it? Let me know. In email and on Discord direct. Got it. So that was today or yesterday? Couple of days. I'll take a look. I'll reach out if I have any questions. Remember, I'll try to remember today, but if someone says, Scott, give us your mission statement, I'll put it on. I'll put it on there. Strengths and weaknesses are very personal. We're just trying to figure them out. Vision statement, very personal. The mission statement, that one is it's kind of fun to write, actually. So that's why I'm more than willing to share that with you. Okay. Tonight, adding requirements for butterflies, etc. in the trading plan. Love it. Tonight we're gonna move back to the trading foundations. But I have a little bit of work to do because I'm going to consolidate that. So when I go into when I go into the content library, I'm actually I think what I'm gonna do under the Trading Foundations course, you can see the options is all there, but the options only has 8. And the Trading Foundations course has a ton. I'm gonna go to I'm gonna actually do Trading Foundations 2.0, my second iteration, because I'm gonna consolidate this down. It's gonna be 2/3 the size that it was. So instead of 24 sessions, it'll have 16. I'm going to combine a few so that it'll actually give you different presentations. I'm going to keep both of them up because they'll all be helpful. And I'm going to double options foundations next time. So we'll go from 8 to 16 and from 24 to 16. And that way going forward, it'll be an even split. I figure that'll be helpful. So, but we will be still meeting Tuesday, Thursday evenings. We're back to Trading Foundations. So anyone who's joined recently or is looking to go back to the basics and just check on the structure of their foundation, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So, all right. We are on tomorrow for our midweek check-in, even though it's only the next day, right? So we'll have tonight foundations, tomorrow midweek check-in, Thursday foundations, Friday market wrap. We've got some new things coming down the pipe. We are looking to do the advisories coming soon. And there's even a couple of trading room ideas floating around. We're not sure what that would look like, but we're talking about it, trying to figure out what we can do. Fred, thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. And yes, definitely catch the recording when you can. All right, everybody. It's great to see you. Happy New Year. It feels like a little bit of a rough start to the market. That's just the market letting you know it sees us. Just saying hello. That's how the market says hello. Yeah. So we're fine. Like I said, never happy if I have to take a loss as the first thing at the start of new year, but I certainly am not going to let that unduly influence me. All I know is whatever few losses I have, December was a phenomenal month, so I'm not worried about it at all. Okay, I will see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, happy trading.